Hi everyone, my name's Bill Kinahan, and we're going to take a few minutes and talk about Microsoft Dynamics 365 Field Service. So Microsoft Dynamics Field Service is really part of the ecosystem of all the Microsoft Dynamics products. So you can see here we've got field service highlighted, but there's also sales, there's also customer service, there's also HR, there's finance and supply chain, there's BC, there's all of these different pieces of the pie. And field service is just one of them. So one of the advantages of this is obviously if I have a client I'm working with, that may be somebody who is in field service, but may also be in sales, may also be getting service from a customer service perspective as well. Since it's all sitting in Dynamics, that's the same record. So I'm looking at that same customer regardless whatever functional area of business I'm with. Now the outside of this shows you kind of all the different areas that are plugged into these applications. So obviously all of the Office suite, right? So when you talk about Excel, Word, Outlook, SharePoint, Teams, all of those things are tied into the application as well. Things like Power Automate to automate the application, make notifications, do certain escalations, all of those types of things when you think about automation is part of it. Power BI, if you really want to take the reporting to the next level, the ability to go in and do some analytics within Power BI, and again, pull out that information that may be related to field service, and also on that same chart, have something that's related to sales or customer service or one of the other areas you see here. Now, field service is comprised mainly from a work order perspective, but I'll explain a little bit of how it works here. I can initiate a work order various ways. I can just have a work order created, right? I go in and somebody requests a work order be created. I create that in the system and go through the process. I also can initiate it from a case, and that's what we'll do today. You'll see a call that has come inbound, and I'm going to actually initiate that work order from taking that call or initiating that case as well. Or maybe I want to go do an install after we sold something, so it could be done from an opportunity too. You really can initiate that work order kickoff from anywhere within the system. After that, the work order gets created, and the work order is comprised of a couple different components, and some of those are service tasks, products, and services. So a service task, think of that as the things I need to do when I go out on site to complete this. I might have to test something, I may have to install something, I may have to do a report at the end, get a signature, whatever those kinds of things are. That's what you classify as a service task. Products are actually inventory items that I'm going to use when I'm out in the field. So if I have to replace a cable or something like that, I can pull that out of my inventory on my truck and actually do that. And then services are if it's an hourly type of function and multiple people tied into it. So as my role as a solution architect, I may have a certain bill rate that takes up certain hours when I'm out in the field. So really, those all comprise the incident type, which is tied onto the work order. So essentially that allows me to create that work order off of the incident type on the fly, and really on the work order itself, as a dispatch or someone who creates it, I don't have to do much. The system looks after all of that for me as well. From there, we'll schedule the work order, so that will then be scheduled out to a resource in the field. And then after that, we'll actually perform the work out in the field on a mobile device where I'm updating that information from a technician perspective. After that piece, when the technician has closed that work order, it's going to typically come back into dispatch or somebody even from customer service. They're going to review it, actually post that work order, and that may initiate an invoice to be created and maybe sent back to your ERP system or something along those lines. Now, the other thing you can do, not only from a work order perspective, but I also can have maintenance agreements in here. So those preventative maintenance agreements that I have monthly or quarterly going on through certain clients. Similar process you'll notice here, but I actually initiate that before. So they sign an agreement with us at the start of the year to have quarterly maintenance done. I set that up in the system, and then if I get in like 2 weeks before that agreement or that work order is set to be completed, I actually can have it then hit that schedule board and get scheduled, and then the process from there on is the exact same. But just know we actually can create these maintenance agreements beforehand and have them kick out throughout the year. So let's take a look at Dynamics 365 Field Service. So this is Dynamics Field Service. So we'll walk through kind of what a dashboard looks like in here, and then we'll walk through the process actually of moving that work order through to completion. So you can see We've got a dashboard in the system that's showing a few different statuses from a work order perspective, like work orders by type, work orders by city, by incident type, what we just talked about on the slide there in regards to different things like products and services and service tasks. Those are all classified as an incident type. So is it maintenance? Is it informational? Is it delivery? All of those types of things. And then down at the bottom, I actually can have a view of all the work orders we have open right now within the system. So you can see this dashboard is a combination of visuals, right? And then I can have a list or a filter of information. Now from a field service perspective, I'm going to navigate down the left-hand side. You can see all the different areas like the work orders in here, the schedule board where I actually move those work orders to a certain technician that's out in the field, all my accounts, my contacts. But I also have cases. So we're going to initiate this work order from an existing case in the system. So think of a case as somebody calls in with a problem or a question or something like that. We triage that and then we make the decision whether we want to send somebody out on site, and that's kind of where the work order kicks in. So if I go in and click on this top one, the parts needs replacing, this is going to give me some detailed information in regards to the case. So all of this case information is showing part needs replaced. You can see I've got a case ID associated to it, who the customer is, who the contact is, how it came into us, all of this different type of information that is tied to this specific client. Now I do have any interactions in here, okay, that we have with the customer. So whether it be an email or a phone call or a task that needs to be done, all of those different things. And then on the right-hand side, I actually have any other cases we've been working with them on. So this is part of the customer service side of Dynamics 365. Then we're going to move this forward again into the work order or field service side. So I can go up here and look at the process bar at the top, and you can see I've got the customer and the contact already identified. I'm going to move this forward on to the next stage, so research. So that research may involve me doing some detailed research in the background to see if I can maybe fix this, right? Maybe the part doesn't need to be replaced. Maybe I can look at procedural guide or something like that and allow them to talk them over the phone how to fix it themselves. In this case, we are going to make a determination that we do need to send somebody out on site. So I'm going to go in here and choose this incident type. Now, we have replace broken part as the incident type I'm going to choose. That's what's really going to build out our work order for us. So I'm just going to save this. So now I am going to create the work order, right? We've identified what the problem is. We've identified what we think type of work order or incident type is actually going to solve this for us. Last thing I need to do is that customer service representative is actually convert this to a work order. So I'm going to click on convert to work order. And it's going to take a second here, and it's going to go and create this work order for us. Now, this case is going to stay open, right? That I probably want to check up, maybe do a survey after the work order has been completed, things like that, and then eventually close off that case. So in this case, work order is created successfully. Open the newly created work order. Yeah, let's say okay to that. And you're going to see that information that we had on the case has now been transferred over onto the work order screen. So I've got a work order in the system now and a case that are tied together. So you can see I've got a work order on the left-hand side. The status is unscheduled right now. You also notice I have a process bar along the top, right? So now we've moved that into that work order. You'll also see I've got some tabs here outlining products, services, and service tasks. So based off of that incident type that we talked about on the case, I actually have added some products to this. So we want an assembly unit. That's what we're going to replace. We need some services tied to it. So it's going to take us 4 hours to do this. And then I've also got some service tasks that are tied to it as well. So we think all of these pieces are things that I need to do when I'm out in the field. Now I should say you can use some or none of these if you want. All of them as well. So if you don't want to use products, services, and service tasks, I just want to create a work order and send a technician out to do some work, that's fine. If you want to get more detailed information, like how long it's taking to confirm that part to replace, I can do that from here, right? I'm getting more of that task information built out of it. So we've taken that call inbound in regards to the case from the customer. We've now created a work order. Now we have to assign that work order to someone. So I'm going to move this forward to the next stage, and we're going to go ahead and schedule that work order. And for that, I'm going to go to the schedule board. Now, the schedule board can be sliced and diced a bunch of different ways. So I can have the schedule board actually specific to a certain product line, specific to a certain region. I may be responsible for some technicians that somebody else isn't, those kinds of things. And you'll see when this comes up, I have the ability to actually just look at my schedule board as opposed to having multiple people having them mixed up on the schedule board. So you can see I've got a bunch of different tasks and a bunch of different resources on the left-hand side. So we've got Brady and David and Edgar, and I can see a schedule for each one of those. And each one of these tasks, all right, or each one of these work orders, sorry, are in different stages. So right now, Brady's traveling to his to do this work. This one, he's on break. You can see this different statuses and the colors change as they move them through the schedule board. You'll also notice down at the bottom, I have unscheduled work orders. Okay, so the unscheduled work orders show on the screen here, and I have the ability to just go in and grab this and drag it onto the schedule board. So now, like you can see, this work order has been assigned to David, and he's going to get a notification and go out in the field and start to work on that work order. I also can do mapping from here if I want to look at my route and things like that. I can filter down on the resources. So if I want a certain resource with a certain type of skill set, I can do that from here. I can also tie that directly to the work order itself. So when the work order comes on here, only the resources that are in a certain have a certain skill set or in a certain region, maybe they're the only ones that are allowed to actually work on this work order. In this case, we've assigned it to David. Okay, and now we'll look at from a mobile perspective. So this is showing us now the mobile device. So the actual device that a technician would use out in the field, or the app the technician would use out in the field in order to complete this work order. So you can see I've got my bookings here, and today we've got a work order to replace the broken part. So I can click on that work order, and it's going to go in and give me the detail of that work order. So in this case, I can see the booking status, so we'll change that because we're on site now, and I'm going to say this is in progress. Okay. I've got actual arrival time, all of that information updates based on where I am and when I've arrived on site and things like that. I can look at the customer information from here as well that's showing me who they are, who the customer is. I even get down to directions here if I wanted to. So I could get directions to go to on site to actually, with my mapping tool that's on my phone for that. If I go into service, the service side is going to show me things that I need to do. So we talked before about having that incident type. The incident type has created all of these service tasks, these services, and these products for us. So I can go in, say, let's confirm that part to replace. We're going to remove that existing part as well. We'll install the part as well, and then we're going to test and validate that too. So those are the 4 steps that I needed to go through, or the 4 tasks I needed to complete. If I scroll down a little bit here, you can see the assembly unit install. This is the actual hours it takes for me to go out and do this. So in this case, yeah, 4 hours was correct. I can add more tasks to this. I can add more services to this as well, or take some away if it didn't take as long to do it. And then lastly, the product is the thing that I want to actually edit in here too. So the assembly unit, right now it's telling that we estimated the quantity at 3. Was that correct? So yes, we'll say, yeah, we used 3 of those, okay, quantities for it. And then I actually can tell them what warehouse I pulled it from too. So it could be a truck, it could be from our main. I'll just say we got it from our main warehouse. Say okay to that. And now we've essentially fulfilled that work order, right? We've created the work order's been created. I completed the tasks. I completed the services against it. I also created the products again, or completed the use of the products against it. Some other things I can do in here as well is if I go into the notes area, I may want to grab a signature, right? So I have the ability to grab a signature here. I have the ability to take a picture if I wanted to. All of that capability is available to me here as well. Now lastly, the thing I need to do here is actually go in and just complete this work order. So I can go, it's set as scheduled, and I can just go in and say completed. Okay? And now this work order has been completed, and someone back in dispatch has the ability to actually move this work order to posted. So now we're back in looking at our active work orders, and you can see the very top work order has been completed. I can go in, open this, maybe look at some details in regards to it. Okay, so you can see all the details. You can see the work order, okay, has been scheduled and completed from here. Okay, so I'm going to say, yep, that's been done. Say I'll close that task off. All right, I've got a status of completed. Now there is a functional location here. This is important for a couple reasons. It allows me to get more detailed as a location. So if I'm working on a large building and we have to, it's not just an address we need to go to. We need to go to the 3rd floor in the 4th office. This allows me to do that where I have a functional location tied to it as well. You can see I said the system status is completed. You can see incident type is done. The bookings are all complete for it. If I go over and look at our products, we should see the products all updated as well. So quantity, the services, 4 hours, and then the service task. Really the last thing to do with this now that if we okay everything on this, I can actually go in and complete this. So once it's completed, I'm going to go in and post that out. And at that point, I save that record, the work order has been posted, and maybe that does indicate back that it's being sent to an ERP system or something like that for processing for invoicing on the way out. So thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed the brief overview of Dynamics Field Service. Thank you.